What if this secret to a longer, happier life wasn't some complicated diet or crazy exercise plan, but just a single word? Well, today we're going to dive into Ikigai. It's this incredible Japanese concept that might just change everything. How you see your mornings, your job, well, your whole life.
So let's be honest. We're all looking for that secret, right? The key to a long, happy life? Is it what we eat, how much we move, or is it something deeper? Something like a real solid reason to get out of bed every single morning. To find out, we've got to go to a place where people seem to have cracked the code. It's a small town in Okinawa, Japan, called Ogimi. Get this, they have more people living past 100 than anywhere else on Earth. So, what's their secret? What do they know that the rest of us don't?
Okay, so obviously a good diet and staying active are part of it. But the people of Ogimi will tell you their real secret is something else. It's this one powerful idea that shapes their whole world, and they call it Ikigai.
So what is Ikigai? Well, the Japanese believe that every single one of us has one. It's basically your reason for being. You know, that one thing that gives you joy and a sense of purpose? It could be your job, sure, but it could also be a hobby, your garden, your family. The trick is just finding yours.
And this is so interesting. It's why there's no real word for retirement in Japan, at least not in the way we think of it. I mean, if what you do is your Ikigai, why would you ever want to stop doing it? It makes sense, right? You stay active, you stay engaged with what you love, because it's a core part of who you are.
All right, so how does this idea actually lead to a longer life? Well, scientists have been studying places just like Okinawa, they call them blue zones, to figure out what the world's longest living people all have in common.
And they found a few key things that pop up again and again. You've got a good diet, some light daily exercise, and really strong friendships and community ties, all super important. But there's one more piece to the puzzle, the one thing that kind of holds it all together, and that's having a clear sense of purpose, their Ikigai.
So what's with this number, 80%? Well, it points to this really cool Okinawan principle for eating. It's called harahachi-bu, and it's simple. Just stop eating when you feel about 80% full. It's not about counting calories or anything. The idea is to not make your body work so hard on digestion, which some believe actually speeds up the aging process.
And check this out, the concept of a moai. This really shows you how important community is in Okinawa. It's not just a group of friends you hang out with. No, it's like a built-in, lifelong support system. Imagine having a group of people, like a chosen family, who've got your back no matter what, emotionally, even financially, for your whole life. That's a moai. Pretty amazing, right?
Okay, so this is all great, but how do we actually use this in our own lives? How do we find our Ikigai? Well, the whole journey really starts with asking yourself one simple but powerful question. What is my why?
And a really powerful way to think about this comes from a pretty unexpected source, the work of a psychiatrist named Viktor Frankl. Now, Frankl was a Holocaust survivor, and from that unimaginable experience, he realized something profound. The people who were most likely to survive were the ones who held on to a purpose, something waiting for them on the outside, a reason to keep going. He built a whole school of psychology around this idea, and he called it logotherapy.
So, what's logotherapy? Well, think of it this way. Psychoanalysis tends to look backwards, digging into your past to figure out your problems. Logotherapy is the total opposite. It's all about looking forward. It doesn't ask, why are you hurting? It asks, what meaning can you find that will help you move forward? The whole goal shifts from finding pleasure to finding purpose.
Frankl loved to quote the philosopher Nietzsche because this one line just sums it all up perfectly. He who has a why to live for can bear with almost any how. I mean, think about that. Once you have that clear purpose, your why, you can get through pretty much anything life throws at you. It becomes your anchor in the storm.
So once you've started to figure out your why, the next big step is mastering the how. And a huge part of that is getting into what's called a state of flow. You know that feeling, right? When you're so into what you're doing that the rest of the world just fades away?
Yeah, this term comes from a psychologist with a name that's a bit of a mouthful, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. He described flow as this, magical state where you're so deep into an activity that time just flies by. Your sense of self kind of melts away, and it's just you and the task. It's what athletes call being in the zone.
And getting into that flow state happens in a very specific sweet spot. Just look at this. If a task is way too easy for you, you're going to get bored, right? But if it's way too hard, you just get stressed out and anxious. Flow lives right in that perfect channel in the middle.
where the challenge is just right for your skill level. It pushes you, but it doesn't overwhelm you.
So how do you get there? Well, you basically need a few key things. You need to know what you're doing, have a really clear goal, and it needs to be just a little bit outside your comfort zone. But maybe the most crucial ingredient of all? You have to be free from distractions. You have to focus on one thing. And that's where a very modern habit gets in the way.
Yep, multitasking. Here's the hard truth. Our brains aren't computers. We can't run a bunch of programs at once. When we try to juggle a million things, we're not actually being more productive. We're just wrecking our focus. In fact, studies show it can tank your productivity by a huge amount, and it makes getting into that beautiful state of flow pretty much impossible.
Finding your Ikigai, getting into flow, these are incredible mental tools. But to really make them work for the long haul, we also have to take care of the physical side of things, the habits that keep our minds and bodies feeling young.
So let's talk about the enemies of longevity for a second. We're talking about chronic stress, which literally wears your body down. We're talking about sitting around all day, which is just a recipe for disaster. And we're talking about non-challenging your brain. Just like a muscle, if you don't use it, you lose it.
But the good news is, we have some powerful allies on our side. Things like keeping your mind sharp, always learning something new, getting good sleep, that's non-negotiable, it's when your body does all its repairs, and developing a more positive, almost stoic attitude, so that when life gets tough, you bend instead of break. Oh, and of course, just simple daily movement.
Maybe this whole entire secret can be summed up perfectly by this little song. It was sung by a woman in Ogimi right before her 100th birthday. It's all there, isn't it? Community, peace of mind, and just being happy to be here, enjoying every season of life.
And that brings us right back to where we started, with that one big question. Look, finding your Ikigai isn't something you just do once and you're done. It's a journey, but every journey has a first step, and that step is finding that one simple reason to get up in the morning. So I'll leave you with this. What's yours?